Howdy everybody, Dave here, and this is another This Week in Tabletopping for week number 44, November 2nd to the November 8th. So this has been a hellacious week for me. I have been really putting in a lot of hours getting caught up from being sick for the last couple weeks. Still not 100% yet. I still am coughing quite a bit, which I have no clue why, but anyways, that's not important. Got a lot of stuff done. Did a lot of things this week. So sorry for the Wednesday video. You know, hardly. I do have them come out sometimes on Wednesday, but really not too often. So the first thing that we're going to do is the weekly grab bag, and I've got quite a few things. We didn't do one last week, so I kind of let them accumulate for a couple weeks, and we're just going to kind of empty out the whole grab bag. So the first question was from a gentleman named Chris that sent me a message through the website, through the Contact Me button. And Chris goes into saying that he and his wife are both playing in a 5e game. And his wife is playing a 5th edition Rogue Assassin. So the DM is saying, is trying to tell her and him that on her first strike, so for surprise attack assassination, she will either get advantage on a regular attack with a critical or both, but not both. So, Chris can't remember what his wording was, but he thinks that it's exactly worded in the player's handbook to where you would get both. And and Chris, that's a great question. You're absolutely correct. So, unfortunately, the DM doesn't have the ruling quite right, which is no problem. I mean, I'm not perfect either. I goof up on rules quite a bit too. So. But the assassination rogue is a great archetype. I actually probably prefer playing the assassin more than any of the other rogue archetypes. So I don't know. New Swashbuckler's pretty good in the Sword Coast Guide. So, but I would say probably for damage, I'd say probably the assassination because of assassination. So the assassination, whenever you hit level 3 and you choose your archetype, that's when you get the assassination skill. And this is like the bread and butter for your rogue. And how this feature works is anytime, and I mean anytime, capital letters, that you get the drop on your opponent, whether it be from getting surprised with initiative or outrolling opponents on initiative, or if you're even just stalking from the shadows, or if you have an invisibility potion or something like that, some type of magical invisibility, then any time that you have got an advantage that's going to grant you, anytime that you have that advantage, you will automatically do crit damage if you hit. Now, of course, you're going to have to roll a hit, but the rogue usually has some pretty good pluses to hit. So as long as you have advantage, you're going to roll with advantage. So you'll do 2d20 plus your bonuses, and if you hit, then you will automatically roll crit damage. And seeing that you have advantage, don't forget to add in sneak attack. You'll get sneak attack also. So you're going to do a hellacious amount of damage. And like I said, this is your bread and butter, so take advantage of it on every single creature in your first round of combat. You need to be attacking targets that have not had their chance to attack yet. That way you can use the assassination skill. So other than that, that's it. Don't forget to add sneak attack, and you'll get crit damage as long as you roll a hit with advantage. Shouldn't be too hard. So take advantage of it. Hope that helped you out there, Chris. Alright, so the next one is the next thing from the grab bag is from Rangan Raj, and he was watching the D&D 5e Horde of the Dragon Queen videos, and he was commenting on the death of Silverclaw, Krivgar, and Ralthoin, and he thought the way that I incorporated them back to life later on in the game really fit the storyline. And I told him that I thought it did as well because of what the party had done for Greenest, which Governor Nighthill felt compelled to try to do as much as he could to try to bring back, the dead. Obviously, Ralthoin was taken by the hunters back to Ralthoin's village, his Uthgard village, but Silverclaw Krivgar, they're resurrected, rejoined the party. It was good. I really like the way that turned out. So, yeah. Next thing is by Ed Ghostpimp. Great name, Ed Ghostpimp. And he asked do the tieflings only have devil qualities, or can you give them demonic qualities? I would say keep it to the lore. I would keep it to the lore, keep it to their infernal features, and especially with the new Sword Coast companion that just came out, Ed, there is a whole bunch of new tiefling abilities to where you can modify your tiefling even more, to where you can ultimately give your tiefling wings and a flying speed, sort of like what the Aarakocra has. But it's ultimately, they're optional rules, ultimately up to your DM. If he or she says so, then you're good to go. So that's in the Sword Coast Companion, the new Sword Coast Companion Adventures Guide that just came out this week. Last one is James, and James asks, with all due respect, Dave, you must name a tavern the Greased Griffin, after, of course, Griffin Grease. I like that. That's a great, that is a great idea, and I'm going to do that, and we can sort of pay a tribute to Warhuck, because Warhuck was the first one that ever rolled that jar of Griffin Grease, and he used to use that shit all the time. So, man, I miss Warhuck. He's working his ass off. So, hope he can start playing a game pretty soon. So, that is everything from the grab bag this week. So, the next thing I want to talk about is the November 23rd fundraiser. And the November 23rd fundraiser is going to be for Torquemada and it's going to be for Torquemada's family. Torquemada passed away a little over a week ago now, and he lost his battle with cancer, and we're really going to miss Torquemada. I had known him for a couple years since I started the channel. He was one of the very first people that ever followed the channel, along with Big Dirt and Zerker and Crowfire and all those guys. So I'm gonna miss Torque. He was a really nice guy. So we're gonna do a 12-hour charity stream on November 23rd. Try to raise some cash for his family, because still, he has left behind a wife and 2 children. So they're still gonna have to take care of those bills, and I think this would be a good way to help him out a little bit. So I'm just gonna go ahead and straight out send him a check and bypass all of those other fund me now and all that other stuff, because they just take too many fees, and I would rather just the money go right to them. So we'll do that from noon to midnight on the 23rd. All right. So yesterday I tested a Oculus Rift virtual reality tabletop game. Pretty fun. It was really fun. Definitely has a lot of potential. That's for sure. The only thing that concerns me is the cost. The cost is really expensive. If you guys have looked at anything from the VR2 stuff from Oculus, they're pretty pricey, and that's one thing that scares me with virtual tabletop gaming. And the way that it's going now is Oculus is actually setting the standards higher and higher and higher for video cards, which the companies do not know why they're doing this, but they're literally putting walls up to where if you have this video card or this video card, it simply will not work. Even though it will work, and it has worked in the past, they're putting up walls. And the companies are kind of frustrated at that. I was talking to people in the industry, and Oculus is really doing nothing but killing the companies that are making these virtual reality apps. So, from what I had seen yesterday, it's really fun. It definitely has a lot of potential, but the whole cost is what really deters me, and I'm sure it would probably deter you too. So I have GeForce 660 Ti video cards. They're a couple years old, but they're still expensive, and they're still probably one of their better cards that they make. And Oculus VR would not work with my video cards. So after going back, doing some old software, got it working, and it worked beautifully. But the way that Oculus is set up now, they're making you get the very, very, very high-end video cards, which is bad for their business. And I'm not afraid to say that. But yeah, it definitely has a lot of potential. But it's just the cost. All right, so I'm going to talk about the Tomb of Beast. Holy cow! If you guys missed the Tomb of Beast, this was a hellacious Kickstarter. This is by Wolfgang Bauer and Kobold Press. Now, the Tomb of Beast is totally 5e adaptable, and the book itself was originally going to be 300 monsters, but they only wanted, I believe, the goal was $20,000, and they actually ended up raising, I think, $200,000. I mean, we'll take a look at this really quick. They funded almost 200 grand, and I think it was just 20 grand for what they needed. And everything that when you do the pledge to get everything, this is amazing for what you guys get. So if you were a $90 pledge donor, you're going to get the book, which was only going to be $300, but now it's probably going to be $450, or I mean, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be well over $400. I would even imagine that it may be over $450 because of all of the the player created monsters that are going to be coming, all of the stretch goals. Every $10,000 stretch goal kept adding 5 monsters, 10 monsters, 5 monsters. So this is going to be a crazy book. I mean, just literally, it's going to be crazy. And it also has a book of layers, which, of course, you guys know the D&D 5e. If you're a dungeon master, you know that there are legendary creatures in 5e. And these legendary creatures, like the dragons, the Tarrasque, the Mummy Lord, the vampire, they all have legendary features that they get in their lair. So this is a whole book of layers. And with the stretch goals, holy cow, I think there's going to be somewhere close to 25 or 30 layers in this book. That is unbelievable. That is a ton of content. So just the 2 books are $90, and that is going to be a big ass book. It's going to have tons of monsters and art for all the monsters, everything. It's going to be beautiful. Now, for the pledge, you also get the playtest and sneak peeks of the monsters and everything, which is unbelievably awesome. And you'll see that you get all of the battle maps. Yes, you're getting printed battle maps of every single layer. So if there's 25 or 30 layers, you're getting 25 or 30 battle maps. I mean, how cool is that? And you're going to get those digitally. And you're going to get the PDF for the Book of Layers and the Tomb of Beasts, as you can see down here. And they're not done, because you're also going to get the original 300 pawns that they actually had with the book, because they didn't think that it was going to kickstart this much, and they pre-printed these. So you're going to get 300 printed pawns. That's awesome. That's like a whole $30 box set, one of those Paizo bestiary box sets. And then you're also going to get some other PDFs, 5 more PDFs from Kobold Press. Also, this is all 5e adaptable stuff. So they're 5e Southland heroes, they're 5e Midgard heroes, the Tomb of Tiberesi, and then you're going to get the Raven's Call adventure and Cat and Mouse adventure. So I mean, all that for $90. And guys, that is a hellacious Kickstarter. And especially with the Numenera Kickstarters, these role-playing game Kickstarters are just getting more and more popular, and the products are just amazing that you're getting for such. Sure, $90 is a pretty big chunk of change, but guys, this is like an almost $200. I mean, if you were to go to DriveThru RPG and stuff, or buy these books from Amazon, this would be almost $200. I mean, you're getting a lot of stuff. So you guys really need to check out those Kickstarters, especially for you DMs out there that love to have those physical products. So, all right. So that is everything with the very, very, very successful Kickstarter. And congratulations to Wolfgang over there at Kobold Press. Very, very, very happy for you guys. 5e needs this stuff. So, all right. So the next thing we'll talk about is, if you guys haven't noticed, I kind of redid the website. The website has been redone. It's very plain. I love the new logo that Zovia has made, and this is the way the website is. There may be a couple modifications later on, but the way the old website was, DustPup had done a lot of modifying to the website, and I am not a programmer. I'm not a coder. I don't know HTML, any of that stuff. So he had everything set up to where he knew how to, change things. Well, I need to change things, and when I need to change it, I can't keep bugging people to do things. So I've brought it back down to where I know how to do it, and I think it looks pretty good. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, feel free to send me a message or contact email or anything like that. So, but that's the way the website's going to be, and I actually really like it. I think it looks really good. So now, next week, I'm going to start adding a bunch of character sheets to the character sheet database. So if you guys are the Adventurers League players, there will be all the new archetypes available for you for these Sword Coast Legends adventure guides. We'll be working on the fighter, the barbarians, the cleric, the wizard, the sork, all that stuff. Hopefully the majority of those character sheets will be done next week. I'm also going to start doing a new series, a new tutorial series on Fantasy Grounds products, meaning all of the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Because a lot of players, they want to know what they're getting before they spend $40 on a plugin, before they spend $35 on the the Sword Coast Adventures Guide. People want to know what they're getting for $40, $45 for the Monster Manual. So I'm going to break these down for you, show you what you get, and then hopefully that will, either, want you to get, it'll make your mind up to where you're going to buy it or where you're not going to buy it. Because I think there could be a little bit more on, how these things are presented for sale, because there's a couple screenshots on the in the store page, but I think a video would be a much nicer thing, sort of like a tour. So I'm going to start doing a tour of all the 5e products, and probably the Savage Worlds stuff too. So because I really like Savage Worlds and Fantasy Grounds, it's really cool. So all right. So that's going to be happening. Actually, I'm going to do a couple of those this week. I just have to finish editing them. All right, so this week I've also got a couple reviews coming out for the Sword Coast Adventures Guide and the Out of the Abyss review. Now that I've had time to fully digest that and read pretty much the whole book, I've had time to, and I really like Out of the Abyss. It's probably the best adventure so far from 5e. That Wizards has actually put out, and it's by Green Ronin Press. The Sword Coast Companion, that is also by Chris Pramus and a couple of his other guys over there at Green Ronin Press. So very good job on those two books. Hopefully they continue to make products for 5e. So because I don't know what Wizards is making anymore, but they're not even making their core content anymore, which is kind of surprising to me. I'm sure they have a lot of influence and stuff, but yeah, I'm just kind of a little taken back by that. I really thought the Sword Coast Companion was going to be by Wizards, and it is, of course, it is ultimately by Wizards, but I just didn't think that they'd be bringing a lot of other companies in to make this stuff. So, but all right. So what's going to be going on this week is Tonight we're going to be taking a look at. Oh yes, tonight is going to be a maybe a little shorter. It's going to be a Dungeon Master's Workshop, and I'm going to go over tonight. I'm going to go over a couple of the Sword Coast Adventures Guide archetypes in more detail than last week, like I had said, and then also yesterday, Mike Merles from Wizards released the new November Unearthed Arcana, and it has some Underdark archetypes. So we'll be taking a look at those also, and I think there's like 3 or 4 of them. And usually Unearthed Arcana only goes up to level 5, but these archetypes actually go up to level 20. So we'll take a look at those, and we'll probably that'll be about it. So we'll look at pretty much all look at D&D 5e archetypes tonight. So Thursday tomorrow, our Scales of War game will continue tomorrow. So I will not have to change or cancel the game tomorrow. So we will continue as scheduled tomorrow. Friday is going to be D&D 5e Princes of the Apocalypse. Now, a couple things with D&D 5e Princes of Apocalypse. I am going to be needing 1 player. I need 2 players, but I have 1 player that I'm going to already ask. I've already reached out to a few other people, and all of them have other plans, and they cannot commit to a Friday game. So I'm going to have to be looking for 2 people. Of course, 1 spot is for Torquemada. Rest in peace, buddy. And then the other is Raz. Raz is going to be stepping out of the game. She's got a lot of stuff going on. She's working on her master's degree. She's got a lot of stuff going on in RL. So she's had to back out of the game for now. So we're going to be looking for a substitute for her as well. So that's going to be for Friday. And we're going to play, and we'll start at about 7:30. Now also on Saturday, we'll play earlier. We'll play at 4 p.m. And this Saturday, we're going to have our first true session of Rise of Tiamat, where we start in Waterdeep. And then Sunday, we'll be continuing on with Out of the Abyss. Man, we had a pretty rough game last Sunday. We had a couple characters die. Morvine and Edith both kicked the bucket. A black pudding. Man, black puddings are vicious, especially when they crit. That black pudding crits Edith for 72 and one-shot her. That's the first time I've ever seen a one-shot kill on a character in D&D 5e. It was pretty vicious. So, all right, everybody. So I think that's going to be about it for me. If you guys, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, please like, please follow, please share. And I'll see you tonight at about 7:30 in the Twitch channel for the DM workshop, where we're going to be looking at all kinds of new D&D 5e archetypes. And until then, I'll see you guys later.